I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Lester Raymond L.J. Jones. Lester Raymond L.J. Jones was a student at Mississippi State University, mastering in biomedical engineering. On January the 11th, 2010, Lester L.J. Jones left his home in Starkville, Mississippi at the age of 26, intending to drive to Jackson, Mississippi to meet his fraternity brothers of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. On the way, he stopped to visit his mother and brother in Tupelo, Mississippi. He was later and last seen on surveillance in Flowood, Mississippi, that night at a Sprint Mart convenience store at an Exxon Shell station. He used the restroom at the store and accidentally left his cell phone behind. A customer found the phone and turned it in to the store staff. Jones never arrived at his destination in Jackson, which was only 15 minutes away from the Sprint Mart. Jones nor his blue 2002 Ford Expedition have been seen or located since. Now, confirmed evidence proves that before his stop at the Sprint Mart, he had an 8-minute phone call interaction with a frat brother. The frat brother later denied this phone call on 2 interviews, to which he then lawyered up and eventually admitted to the 8-minute conversation with Lester. That's a red flag. Why would you lie about an obvious conversation? That's how they knew it was you. They caught you back. But you lied and said there was no 8-minute conversation twice. And then you got a lawyer, and after you got a lawyer, that's when you admitted to the 8-minute conversation. Now, on one end, I can see why he probably figured, well, I'm not answering any questions until I get a lawyer. You should have never denied it. If that was the route you was going, you shouldn't have said yes or no. You should not have spoken until you got your lawyer. So that was an immediate red flag. So because of that, I'm going to write down, when I pull the chart, we're going to be looking at the frat brothers energy. Y'all know my investigations. There is a tutorial in the link below that'll let you know what every sign means, every house number, and every planet that you hear me talk about, pull in any of my cards, or talk about in any of my charts. It is a timestamp tutorial called Astro Oracle Tutorial. You can go to that video and click on it. Now, Aquarius, y'all know, is the fraternity and sorority energy. It is the group conscious energy. Anytime a case involves a group of people, I always look to Aquarius. That'll give me some clues. We're going to be finding out where Aquarius pops up at, because it's going to connect some dots and tell the story of what happened to Lester Jones. Also, we're going to be looking in the 11th house, because that is Aquarius's house. That is where all group activities take place. So that is Aquarius's house, but Aquarius might not be there. But we're going to pay attention to what sign is there and follow that sign. The 11th house and Aquarius. Okay? So, also, it was said that there was possible drama between Lester and some foreigners, some Mexicans, that may have transpired. I don't know where the Mexicans came from. Maybe there's some type of, they didn't just come out of nowhere. That story didn't come out of nowhere. That Lester might have got into something with some Mexicans. So I'm definitely going to see what's going on in the house of foreigners, which is the ninth house. That's Sagittarius' house. So we're going to be looking at the ninth house because that's where all foreign affairs take place. Whatever type of foreign affair it is, it's going to be going on in the ninth house. So I'm definitely going to be looking in the ninth house. And also I'm going to be looking for where Sagittarius is at because Sagittarius rules the ninth house. So that'll let me know if there's any foreign activity going on in the case of Lester Jones. Now I'm going to pull some charts, but before I pull charts, this possible drama going on with Mexicans was confirmed by his mother because she later received, during the investigation, I think this is about years later or something like that, not so many years later, but she received phone calls from some Mexicans stating that, you know, they know what happened to Lester or they had him, something along the lines of that, that actually required the mother to send them some money. And of course, you know, the mother was vulnerable. When you don't know where your child is, you're vulnerable to any type of information, any type of lead. So that is a perfect position to get money from people, which is a sad situation, you know, because a lot of people get taken advantage of in such vulnerable situations like this, when their family members go missing or somebody in their family died and nobody has answers. And then you got people that want to play. And I'm not saying that these Mexicans were playing, but you have people that want to play. And these people can actually get away with getting money from the vulnerable family members in hopes that these people that are playing have answers. So, but we don't know if the Mexicans were playing or not. So I'm not going to speak too fast. But I do know that this is what happens. Because the mother sent the money, but she sent it to the wrong person. And then the Mexicans called her back about a week or two later. And that was the last that we've heard about these Mexicans. I don't know what happened after that. Also, there was no footage of Lester actually walking into the Sprint Mart. Although they found his phone there and they have on surveillance footage his SUV leaving the parking lot, there's absolutely no footage that was found of his body actually walking in the Sprint Mart and walking out. So we don't even know if Lester was in his SUV, whether that was Lester that left the phone in the bathroom or not. Also, it was speculated that, you know, being that they can't find Lester or his SUV, most times the car shows up weeks and months into the investigation, sometimes years, but the car shows up. If the body don't show up, 8 times out of 10, they find the vehicle. They haven't even found Lester's vehicle. Today is December the 5th, 2025. I am about to conduct a high-ranking Astro Oracle reading on Lester Raymond L.J. Jones. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am Supreme. I am a high-ranking Astro Oracle spiritual channeler, and I use my spiritual art and craft to find missing men, women, and children. And I solve cold cases. I tap into the spirit realm of crime. So if you know of any crime or any missing men, women, or child that I can look up and get information on, feel free to comment, suggest content, suggest cases to me. I do add these cases to my itinerary. and I will conduct a high-ranking Astro Oracle on this case. I'm going to get these cards back together once I shuffle. They're lightweight index cards, so they're going to fly all over the place. So I'm going to pull 4 cards because I want to know what happened to Lester Raymond L.J. Jones, who was born November the 26th. I have the planetary alignments in front of me. Of the day Lester L.J. Jones was born, where the planets were aligned, and where the planets were aligned the day L.J. disappeared. We're going to connect the dots using the planets, which are our ancestors. Those are the electromagnetic satellites that govern all experiences and occurrences of people, places, and things since the beginning of time and space in our solar system, the present time and the future. So I am an oracle that taps in to the ancestors and reads the past, the present, and the future. I know how to read the signs and the planets, and I know how to connect the dots to draw a picture of what happened. You ought to see the magic for yourself. So stay tuned. Right now I'm going to pull 4 cards because I want to know what happened to Lester Raymond L.J. Jones on January the 11th, 2010, who was born November the 26th, 1983. There is only one in existence. There is only one Lester Raymond L.J. Jones who was born November the 26th, 1983 in Mississippi, who disappeared January 11th in 2010, who was a student at Mississippi State University mastering in biomedical engineering. Only one in existence. That is the soul that I'm tuning into. Therefore, no other souls will come through. I go directly to the point. I narrow it down until I get directly to the point. Because there are many Lester Joneses in the world. And there are many Lester Joneses that may have been born in November, even November 26th. But once you narrow it down, there's not very many. There's only one Lester Raymond L.J. Jones, born November 26, 1983, who disappeared January 11, 2010, who was a student at Mississippi State University mastering in biomedical engineering. Something told me to look at the bottom card. It said Sagittarius, and it's a person. And Lester is a Sagittarius. You're going to see when I pull this chart. Energy don't lie. But that's not the card. But look, you see that card? Look at that. Look at that. Energy don't lie. I wrote it down. Energy don't lie. Already. So, that card was the foreign affair. There just may have been some foreign activity going on. What happened to Lester Raymond L.J. Jones, born November 26, 1983, who disappeared January 11, 2010? 4 cards. Y'all ready? Let me move this. Oop. Look at that. Uh-oh. Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? Y'all already know. This person came out. You know who this person is? Just who I told you it was. The frat brother. The frat brother is definitely a part of this investigation. Definitely a part of the energy involving this disappearance. What I tell you, I'm going to look for Aquarius. Not because it's in the chart, because you can't make her. I shuffled the hell out this deck. This is my Astro Oracle deck. This is my OG. This is my magic. All of this is my magic. And it works. All of this is my craft on how I get information. And it works. You're witnessing it for yourself. So we do know, before we pull any charts, so we're going to pull charts, we do know that the frat brother is involved. Okay? Now we just got to look in the 11th house to find out what's going on. And Uranus rules Aquarius. We're going to look at where Uranus was the day that, because this is also a person. There's more than one person involved too. Because remember, Aquarius represents the group. Uranus belongs to Aquarius. But on the day that Lester disappeared, Uranus was in Pisces. So we're going to be looking at where Pisces is in the charts. That's going to let us know who this person is. And wherever Aquarius is at is going to let us know who and where this person is and how this person plays a role in the disappearance of Lester Jones. Now we have a Taurus person here. We have a lot of people here. Okay? Now Lester disappeared by itself. We don't know who was in that SUV. But I'm starting to believe that if Lester wasn't in there, and if he was, he wasn't by himself. But even if he wasn't, there was more than one person in that SUV. There's more than one person in that SUV on that camera. Nobody has found video of Lester actually walking in that convenience store. They only have surveillance footage of his Jeep, his SUV, and they know it was his because he left his phone in the bathroom and it was turned in by a customer. Taurus is showing up in the energy of this disappearance as a person. We're going to locate who this person is. Venus rules Taurus. Venus didn't come out, but Venus was in Capricorn the day that Lester disappeared. So we're going to be looking at where Capricorn is. Jupiter. Jupiter came out as a thing. Jupiter rules the 9th house. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. A Jupiter thing. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, opportunity, long distance travels, foreign travels. When Jupiter comes out as a thing, because this ain't no person, this is a thing. This Jupiter thing is a foreign affair. Make sure y'all are utilizing my tutorial. I don't talk shit. So make sure y'all are utilizing my tutorial. Jupiter, this thing is a foreign affair. Let's pull charts. I want to make sure y'all can see all of this on the camera. All right. Lester was born November the 26th, 1983. The sun was in Sagittarius and the moon was in Leo. And y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So when you put a Leo moon in Sagittarius's house, which is the 9th house, Sagittarius actually comes first. Sagittarius, you got the moon right there in Leo in the 9th house. And like I said, I'm going to be looking at whatever's going on in Sagittarius and the 9th house. We do know for a fact by now, it is an Astro Oracle fact that there is a foreign affair going on in the energy of this disappearance. We're going to find out what it is. There's some foreigners involved in Lester's energy because this is his birth chart. This is not the chart that's going to confirm whether he's dead or not. We're going to find that in the disappearance chart. In the birth chart, though, in the house of death, I see Cancer, which is home, family, and the mother. Does that mean his mother did it or somebody in his family did it? No. This doesn't even mean he's dead. This is his birth chart. What this means, when you look in the death chart of somebody's birth chart, it lets you know the energy that governs their transitions and their death. So his death is most likely governed by a lot of domestic energy. Domestic situations. If it was a toxic death, it would be involved in domestic situations where family is involved. Now, because I'm not going to say he's dead, but there was the Mexicans, the foreigners that did reach out to his mother. This is the energy of the mother in Lester's house of death. So if he is gone, his family is definitely involved. Not as suspects, but they're involved in the energy. So let's pull this disappearance chart to make sense of this birth chart. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter came out. This is a Jupiter thing. And Sagittarius came first. Now Jupiter in Lester's birth chart is in Sagittarius right here. All this Sagittarius energy coming out. It was even at the bottom of the deck before I started shuffling the hell out that deck. Jupiter, this thing, the day Lester disappeared, was in Aquarius. You cannot make this up. Jupiter was right here in the frat brother. Let me find out the frat brother has a lot to do with this foreign affair as well. Let's pull these charts. Lester disappeared January the 11th, 2010. On that day, the sun was in Capricorn and the moon was in Sagittarius. And when you put a Sagittarius moon in Capricorn's house, Pisces is rising. Remember I told you, we're going to look at what's going on with Pisces. This person, Uranus, is in Pisces. I get excited. Because this shit never fails, y'all. I get excited. I could lose my train of thought. Uranus. This person is coming first the day Lester disappeared. Let's talk the fuck about this. Look at that. Uranus is right there in Pisces. This person. This is why Uranus came out. And Uranus rules Aquarius. But Uranus was in Pisces. And Jupiter was in Aquarius the day Lester disappeared. Why is the frat brother hiding? Because look where Aquarius is at the day Lester disappeared, in the 12th house. And this is a 12th house chart. This is the chart of the hidden. This is the chart of what's hiding. Not because Aquarius is in the 12th house, but because Pisces comes first. And Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. Pisces represents the hidden. What's hidden? Look in the 12th house. Aquarius, the frat brother. That conversation they had is all about what the frat brother is hiding. Don't care what nobody say. You see it for yourself. The frat brother is hiding something. That's why he got that lawyer. He's hiding. He's hiding. Taurus. Remember this Taurus person? We're going to find out right now. Venus rules Taurus. The day that Lester disappeared, Venus was in Capricorn. Where's Capricorn at? Right there, in the 11th house. The 11th house is Aquarius' house. Remember I told you, the 11th house. Capricorn. I knew this was going to make sense. This person, is about their money. This is about money. And you know who this is? This is that foreigner. This is that Mexican. This is that Mexican that called Lester's mother about his money. Business partnership. This is about business. And I wrote that down before when I pulled these two charts, and I always do an Astro analysis first before I pull cards. I always do my Astro analysis. If you look at my Astro analysis, the first thing I wrote down, look at that, business partnership. See that? Business partnership. And I wrote down the dots that I connected to confirm that. And the cards is saying it too. Why this is a business partnership? Because in Lester's birth chart, this Taurus person is who Lester was working with. Because the sixth house is Virgo's house. That is the house of work. Whoever you work with, your business partner. This was about money. So I don't know if they were hustling or whatever business that they do. Okay? Whatever business that they do. And however Lester is affiliated with these foreigners. It's about money. Because Taurus is the energy of money and material possessions. And it's in the sixth house of work. This was about work involving these foreigners. And look where Virgo is at, in the 10th house. That's Capricorn's house. Do you see Capricorn right there in red? The red represents whose house it is. The black represents who's there. Look at that. Right there in Capricorn's house. And where was Capricorn at? The day he disappeared, right there in the 11th house. Now, the 11th house is also the house of frat brothers. Like I said, the frat brother has something to do, knows about this business interaction that Lester and the frat brother was involved in with these foreigners. They know about this. They know about this. They know about this. Now, the day that Lester was born, in his birth chart, look what's in his 11th house energy. Libra, the partner. You want to know why? This is so important. The partner who Lester partnered up with, the business partner, because look what's in the house of death the day Lester disappeared. Libra. That's who did it. If Lester is dead, his business partner did it. He was not alone that day. Lester was not alone that day. He was with some people that belong to this group. And the frat brother knows about it. That phone conversation too, in the 3rd house. Look at that in Lester's birth chart. The house of communication. That's Gemini's house. The house of communication. That's this person. And you know what? You know what I'm starting to see too? Look where Gemini is. Right there in the 7th house. That's Libra's house. So that means this Libra is the frat brother. That means that this Libra that's in the house of fraternity is actually the frat brother. Yeah. He was not alone. Lester was not alone in that SUV. He was not alone. Now, Leo, which is Lester's moon sign, was in the 6th house of work the day he went missing. Lester wasn't just traveling to go see his frat brother. There was another reason why Lester was traveling that he did not tell his mother and his brother. He just told them, I'm going to see some frat brothers. Lester was going to take care of some business. That's why this Taurus came out. Money, business. Lester went to go take care of some business. And the shit went left. Look at Lester's moon right there in the 6th house of work. What type of work was this involving? Look where Leo is in Lester's birth chart. The 9th house. The 9th house. That's Sagittarius' house. I wrote that down. The 9th house. We're going to find out. 9th house activity will let us know if foreign affairs was involved. 9th house is the house of foreigners. You cannot make this up. And Sagittarius comes first. That travel. That's why Lester was traveling. Now, the phone that got left, I don't think that was a part of the plan, but it just so happened that's what happened. And I feel like that's when shit went left. Whoever was in that vehicle, whoever was in that vehicle with Lester, when he realized he left his phone, are the people that's responsible for what happened to him and why he's missing. Because they know that once they get rid of Lester, nobody's going to find him because his phone is not on him. Now, Leo in the 6th house. This is Virgo's house. Remember, we saw Taurus there. The person he was doing business with. We saw Taurus there in Lester's energy. And the day he went missing, there go Lester's moon, Leo, right there. Lester is a Sagittarius. He comes first. That's what comes first. Not because he's a Sagittarius, but because that's what time he was born. This because his sun was in Sagittarius and moon is in Leo. And it just so happened he also had Sagittarius first. Look where Sagittarius is in the day he went missing. The 10th house. Where they was putting in that work. Business. Because the business was in Virgo's house. Virgo is in the 10th house. That's Capricorn's house. And in the 10th house, there goes Lester. Business. Capricorn and Taurus is business. Money, power, and respect are business. But somebody felt disrespected. And that's where shit went left. Leo rules the sun. Now, the day that Lester disappeared, the sun was in Capricorn. And Capricorn was right there in the 11th house. Like I wrote down. The frat brother is hiding the fact that this business went down. Why? Because look where the frat brother is in the 12th house. Hiding. This was about drugs. The 12th house is the house of drugs and alcoholism. Escapism. That's Pisces energy. Drug money. Drug money is what this is about. Now, the conversation that was going on in the 3rd house, that's Gemini's house. That's the house of communication, phone calls, travels, local travels, on the road, expressways. That's where this frat brother conversation that Lester, this is Lester's chart, he was talking to his frat brother. He was talking to his frat brother. You see it right there. Mercury rules this house. The day that Lester disappeared, Mercury will let us know what that conversation was about. This lets us know who the conversation was with. But the planet that rules this house lets us know what that conversation was about. Mercury, January 11th, 2010, was in Capricorn. It was about that business with the foreigner. You can't make this up. And Capricorn in Lester's chart is right there in the house of money. That's Taurus's house. The Taurus person that he was doing business with. Right there in Virgo's house. It was about the money. The leaving of that phone was where shit went left. Leaving that phone was the worst thing that could have ever happened during a business trip like this. Because who's going to accept the fact that, man, I lost my phone. I don't know where my phone at. Somebody probably said, man, I think you playing with me. That's what I feel like happened. That's what I feel like happened. A crime. I'm gonna hurry up and pull this crime that was going on. Hurry up and pull. Because there's a crime. Oh, definitely, there was a crime that happened. What crime took place? In Lester Jones, January 11th, 2010. What crime is involved in this investigation? For Lester Raymond Jones. What is the crime that took place that involved his disappearance and possible death? I believe he's dead. They got rid of him and his vehicle. Now, they were stated that the vehicle could be in a pearl. That, you see that card that flipped out right there on my lap? Look at that. What's this? A white collar crime in the fifth house. That's Leo's house. A white collar crime. This was professional. This was a professional crime. Look at this. Let me get my template. It's my template. White collar crime. White collar crime. Fraud, embezzlement, insider trade. That's some foreign shit too. Yeah, that's what happened. Look at that. White collar crime in Leo's house. The fifth house. Now let's look in the fifth house. What we see. Well, why we see the family? In the fifth house. Hold up now, because the family showed up in the house of death in Lester's chart. Let me find out his family got something to do with this. Money. You know, when it comes to money, boy, the monsters come out when it comes to money, whether it's family or not. Let me find out that this white collar crime involves his family too. Now, what's going on in Lester's fifth house? Aries. Mars rules Aries. Let's follow Mars that day. Mars was in Leo. Yes, it makes sense now. Mars was in Leo. Yeah. And Leo was that drama that took place. There was drama that took place. There was a crime that took place. I believe Lester was shot. That drama, Leo energy. I believe that Lester was shot. I believe Lester was shot. Yeah, there's a crime that went down. Lost and found. Let's hurry up and get to his body. Where's your body at? Lester Jones. Yeah. If he's not dead, he's held hostage. He's being held hostage. And they want their money. Like the Mexicans told the mother. That's my story on that, and I'm sticking to it. Now let's find his body, dead or alive. Where's the body of Lester Raymond Jones, who was born November 26, 1983, who went missing January 11, 2010? Where is the body of Lester L.J. Raymond Jones, who was born November 26, 1983, who went missing January 11, 2010? Where is the body of Lester Raymond L.J. Jones? Y'all ready? In a body of water. That's what they said. That is what they said. In a body in the sixth house, where they was conducting that business. And the tourist person, oh my God, look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That's this person right here that was driving with him. In the sixth house. Look. You see Lester's moon. His moon is in Leo, and Lester's body right there is hiding in a body of water. Right there. In a body of water. I wrote it down too. I wrote down what the body of water name is. Pearl River. Look at that. I wrote it down. Possible Pearl River. They need to search that Pearl River because they was wondering why they can't even find his vehicle, the SUV. Most times they find the vehicle. They didn't even find the vehicle because it's in a body of water. That's my reading. That's my reading on Lester Raymond L.J. Jones, and I'm sticking to it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And let me know what y'all think in the comments too. Also, if you want a personal reading, reach out to me in my email. Y'all be blessed.